So hi, I'm only Noise podcast with SeeMoreGlass. We're gonna ask some questions today. I'm gonna start. So, what inspired you to start the project, and what does the project name mean?
Oh God. Well, I started the project. I think it was around 2008. I was in my band at the time. We were called Dear Holden, and you're probably catching the Salinger references, but I was really into Catcher in the Rye when I was in high school. So the name kind of came about through that. So the project started in 2008. And it was just kind of like I was writing these acoustic songs that weren't really fitting with the band, and we were kind of in a weird spot at that point. We had 4 pretty good years, and like the last 2 years were kind of weird. And they really wanted to go like a direction like a Day to Remember, like 4 Years Strong type of deal. And I was just like, I love those bands, but I was just like, that wasn't the kind of music I was writing and wanting to write. So SeeMoreGlass was kind of born out of that. And the name actually comes from the character in Salinger's story, A Lovely Day for Banana Fish. And the character, like, without telling you the entire story, basically what happens is SeeMoreGlass is like this super intellectual character who has this experience with this young girl where he like hunts for banana fish in the water, and the banana fish aren't real. But at the end of it, like, it seems like he's super happy, and like you can tell in the beginning of the story he was having problems with his wife. He goes upstairs to his hotel room and actually kills himself, and like that's how the story ends. And it was just like this really, I read it and it was so jarring to me when I read it, and it just stuck in my mind, and I thought that would just be an interesting name. And it always has been for all these years. And then it was like right as I was putting up Graveyard Gertie on Spotify, like there's a German band with the same name, and
Yeah.
they got the Spotify thing before I could get to it. So it was like 2 months beforehand they nabbed it. So I was kind of bummed about that, and I've been thinking about changing it, but I think I'm just gonna keep it because it's been a part of my life for like 12 years now. So why not just keep it the same?
It also rolls off the tongue really well, so
Thank you.
yeah. It's one of the names I haven't fucked up, so.
Proud of you, Shane. Doing great.
It's awesome. How long have you guys been doing this podcast?
Oh my God, tomorrow's a year.
It's a year. That's so cool.
Man,
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Man.
quit.
And this is our last one. No, it isn't.
No, it was really cool. I was was setting up my classroom. I'm a teacher, and I was setting up my classroom and I was listening to it. I think I listened to the Maxwell Stern interview, and the dude from Spanish Love Songs, and a couple other ones. I can't remember the names, but I was just really impressed. I thought you guys did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
you're here.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the fucking Spanish Love Songs interview.
Yeah.
But we're never gonna get that opportunity ever again because I may or may not have fucked it up at the end.
No, dude, you did a great job. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really
Aw.
cool.
I
I
forgot
was
his
impressed.
name.
I was like, wow, these guys are getting some serious names on here. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah. I forgot his name though at the end, so.
Yeah.
I'm blanking right now. So
Yeah, Dylan. I know it now.
Yeah,
I didn't know it
exactly.
then.
We know it now. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for listening. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. It means a lot.
yeah.
All right. So back to your music.
Sure.
Congrats on your newest release, Graveyard
Okay.
Gertie. How do you
Thank
feel about the
you.
response to it so far?
Well, Gertie was an interesting experience. It actually kind of came out in, let's see, it was I think I released it in 2017 now. It's weird. Like I'm about to turn 32, and it's just, the years just fly by, and I have no concept of time anymore. But I released it in 2017, and I talk a lot, so I'm gonna go on tangents.
You're good.
My
okay.
students are always like, "Oh my God, is this guy ever gonna shut up?" But
No.
I guess that's what you're supposed to do on podcasts. So basically, once my band was over in 2010, we called it quits in July, and it was just like this moment where I felt like it was over. You know, it's weird. I have these things in my life where I just come to a decision about something. I'm just like, okay, it's done. And that was kind of it. And they didn't last too much longer after I left. And then everything was just kind of on hold for a while, because I was in college and I was working, you know, a full-time job, and I was really trying to get through all of that and to become a teacher. And then after I became a teacher, it was like I kind of picked up and dusted off the old guitar, and I'd only written like one song in 7 years, and I was just like, I want to see if I can still do it. And Graveyard Gertie was kind of born out of that. So I just started writing songs, and a lot of those songs that came out were like super emotional and really like just right where I was at that moment. And I mean, it's interesting because I listen to it now, and it seems like these songs are so depressing and sad, you know, which but at the time, I mean, I just felt like so connected to them. And I was just really proud. My buddy and I recorded it in a day, and it was just kind of a test to see if I could still do it. And it came out pretty well, and I was pretty excited about it. But the response to it has been overall pretty positive. At the time, like, I didn't really think about like marketing or anything, or like pushing it out there. I was just kind of like, I'm just going to throw it up and see what happens. But everybody who's listened to it has been super stoked on it. My mother-in-law was just like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need help?" She was,
No.
she was kind of freaking out. She was like, "Oh my God,
Oh my God.
I think
Good?
he's depressed," but which I was. So she was correct. But I mean, it's all good. But yeah, it was a fun project.
All right.
Wait. So did I mishear, or did you say you recorded like the entire album in a day?
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I guess it was 2 days, but the whole EP came together in a day. Like, and it was just because of time and money, because I didn't have a lot of extra money, and my buddy he owns a local guitar shop, and him and I played together for years. But I just called him one day, and I was like, "Dude, I got these like 6 or 7 songs. Would you be interested in helping me lay them down?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I think I paid him $100, and you know, we just sat down and went through them. And he added a lot of like the embellishments, like the piano and stuff. But yeah, pretty much all the vocal tracks were like 1 to 2 takes, and yeah, so it was a fun experience. It was just kind of throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and that's it, and just leave it as it is. But it came out pretty good for that.
It did, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Doesn't sound like it was recorded in a day. That's for damn sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, all my releases so far have been that way. The other one, if you really want to hear about it, which I did in like 2010, all those songs were done in like a day too. And it was just because of time, and like my buddy Kyle and I, we just didn't know what we were doing. We were just messing around. But I mean, I'm still pretty proud of the way that came out as well. Yeah. It's cool to look back at these different milestones, you know, and just see like where you were at the time. And it's interesting too how these songs kind of change meaning to you, you know, like you write something and you think, you know, oh man, like I totally feel this way about it, and then as you grow older and you look back at it, you're just like, wow, I mean, I see it totally differently now. So that's been kind of fun with these EPs too. But yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, yes, I can. Let's see where to start with that. So that is a great question. So I teach a creative writing class, and like so much of what I teach is about process. And I found like what's best for my process is I keep like a ton of notebooks. So I've always just kept a notebook of thoughts and things that, you know, I've always wanted to write down. And at the first, like, I mean, I started like when I was a freshman in high school, and I've just kind of kept them. I don't know if you can see behind me, they're all like stacked in there. There's like 12 or 13 of them that are just full of crap. And so I write a lot, and then I kind of sit down and put like a melody to it, and then the guitar parts is always secondary. Like it's weird. I've always kind of been that kind of writer where guitar and the music was secondary, and I was always really focused on like vocal melodies and like lyrics. That's always kind of been my process, is like that's the stuff I want to get right. So like I tend to spend a lot way too much time like poring over lyrics and thinking, you know, am I saying this the right way? Should I rephrase it? You know, what's the best way to say this line? So like in the new record that I'm working on right now, I don't want to say too much about, because like who knows when it's actually going to happen because of COVID. It was supposed to actually happen this past summer, but COVID happened and I didn't get to go to the studio that I wanted and record it. So it's all postponed till next summer, which has kind of been a blessing in disguise because I've reworked a lot of the songs, and it's actually kind of come out better. But yeah, I just keep playing things and whittling the songs down. One of the things about Gertie that I learned is that so many of those songs were like 5 minutes long, which is crazy. And I was just like, oh my God, no, who wants to sit and listen to me, you know, whine about being sad for 5 minutes? So I've really tried with these new songs to kind of like just leave to coin a phrase, meat and potatoes in, you know, and just kind of take all the extra stuff out as much as I can. Because I as much as I want them to convey like emotion, I want them to be like really good pop songs too, and like just really catchy. I always wanted to channel like I mean, I was a really big fan of like Fall Out Boy's like From Under the Cork Tree and Infinity on High, and I just love those records, and I love the pop sensibilities in there, and I always kind of wanted to keep that with my sound. So
sick.
Yeah, that's kind of my process. It's
solid.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of all over the place, but
but it works. So like, that's all that matters, honestly.
Exactly.
As long as you get a song out of it.
Exactly. And it's weird how they come too, because it's like you know, sometimes it just starts with a vocal melody in the morning and it just kind of runs with it. And then there's other songs that, you know, you just kind of have to drag kicking and screaming through the room until they eventually come out. And those are always the ones that like drive me crazy. I love the ones that you just pound out and like, that's it. Like, interesting story. One of the newer songs that I wrote, my wife and I were asleep, and it was like, I don't know, 4:00, and she like wakes me up and she's like, my wife calls me Muffin. She said, Muffin, there's something in the hallway, which is not something you ever want to hear, right? when you're deep in sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I get up out of bed and I look, and it's a freaking bat.
Oh.
And there's a bat in our house, and it's like flying around the house. I promise this ends with a song. So eventually I knock this thing out of the front door, and the bat is gone, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I sat down on my couch and I wrote a song, and it was just one of my favorite experiences ever. I mean, the whole thing just kind of came out, and it was just this weird conglomeration of everything I'd been going through, which it was just a really neat, like 30-minute thing. And there it is, and which I love. But yeah, that was probably one of the easiest times I've ever written something. Everything else is kind of a struggle.
That's fair. That's fair. Wow, that was
yeah, that was a long way to get to that.
No, it was just a bat in the hallway. That's terrifying.
Oh, it was, yeah. And then like a week later, it got back in.
How?
Which was even more terrifying. Well, apparently, like one of the pipes in the ceiling or something had come loose, so it had to like get in through that, and then it had to like somehow fly down in through our bathroom fan vent. It was crazy. Like, it's been gone. I fixed it and it's gone, okay. But it was quite a life-changing experience. We were both just terrified, and I mean, she still is terrified to be upstairs alone sometimes. She's just like, she'll wake me up at like 4. She's like, I think I hear bat wings. And I'm like, you don't hear bat wings.
Let me go back to bed.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was a crazy experience.
That is definitely the most interesting answer we've gotten to that question.
Definitely.
For sure.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. It was wild.
Definitely. All
It was
right.
wild.
So, where's your headspace usually while creating music? Do you have to like fight a bat to get a song, or
Not usually.
okay?
Let's see. So usually when I approach writing, the best way for me has been to not think about it too much. Because whenever last year I got pretty bogged down in the process of just like sitting every single night and trying to push something and force something, and it never really worked well for me. I kept writing, and I think I was just kind of experimenting with my process a little bit, just because I know like a lot of creators have a different method, and mine isn't the sit down and push things out until something comes. I just kind of have to wait until that inspiration really hits,
Mm-hmm.
which for me is usually in the morning.
Oh.
Surprisingly, like I'll wake
Oh.
up and I'll have something in my head and I'll write it down. There's a lot of songs that I've kind of written walking out the front door to school, and it's nice because it's just like I'm thinking about something other than what I have to do for the day, so it's almost
Yeah.
like a really nice distraction. But
Definitely.
yeah, that's kind of, I try not to overthink it until I get into like the editing process and I really start trying to like rework the songs. But at the beginning, I just kind of just throw it all in the notebook lyrically, and just kind of don't think too much about the guitar parts, and I just kind of write the best I can, get it all out, and then I kind of edit from there.
Okay. All right.
Wow, solid.
So what band or artist influences do you think you can hear the most in your music?
Oof, that is a great question. Well, lately, I've been listening to a ton of Jeff Rosenstock's new record lately, No
As
Dream.
you should.
You guys
Mhm.
familiar with that? Oh,
Oh,
We
my
yeah.
listen
God.
to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that record is
So
unreal.
good. Yeah.
I listen to that every day on the way to school, and it's just like, it just gets me through the day. It's
Felt
so
that.
good. I don't know if you hear Jeff Rosenstock in my stuff. My stuff's a little sad. But for Gertie, I was really trying to be kind of experimental. I'm trying to think of like a specific artist. I was really going for a folky vibe because I really wanted to blend that like folk and pop punk. Like I've always tried to like meld those two genres together,
Okay.
but not so much in like a Frank Turner type of way. I want it to be a little bit more melodic and have like a little bit more like emo mixed up in there.
Mhm.
And I'm still kind of working on that. And I don't know if it truly came out in Gertie, but there are spots I think where it started to. But on these new songs, I feel like there's a lot more intricacy with the guitar parts, and I feel like there was a lot of repetition on Gertie. Like I felt like I sang choruses a lot and stuff, and I'm tried to kind of stray away from that, and play around with different like structures. So like I'll have a song that has like just like 3 verses and 1 chorus at the end or something like that, just to play around with structure a little bit. And Into It Over It really influenced me with that. So I'm super excited for Figure. I don't, you guys listen to Into It Over It at all, or Evan
I'm not.
Weiss?
No.
No. Oh, you should. It's excellent stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's been a huge influence. Some smaller bands that I just kind of want to shout out. No Era, I think, is from Philly. Big fan of their record, Bird in Flight, something. I don't know what the title of it is, but it's an excellent record. I've been listening to that a lot. And St. Judas, I've been listening to that too. Good dude, I think I think he's also out of Philly, but I've just been trying. I'm like neurotic about finding new music to listen to all the time, and especially like artists that are like not known yet.
Mhm.
And so that's something that I really try to do, and it keeps things fresh too, I think, because I think you listen to too much like kind of mainstream stuff and it starts to bog you down a little bit. So I'm always trying to look for new and interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I listen to a lot of classic stuff too. Like I got like when I was writing Gertie, I got super into Bob Dylan. So I listened to Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde a lot, and Times They Are Changing, Highway 61. What else? I was listening to Laura Jane Grace, Against Me's Transgender Dysphoria Blues. That record kicks. Yeah. Front Bottoms, Modern Baseball,
Ooh,
you know,
yeah.
all those really, really good bands. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the stuff that I've been listening to try and influence my sound.
Okay.
Solid. Wow. Okay. I like the idea of just trying to find new artists, so then you're able to maybe take like a little bit from each one that not many people have heard about. That's so cool. I don't know.
Thank you. That's that's always been my goal. Like one of the things that, like I said, I'm a creative writing teacher, and one of the things that I always do with my creative writing students is we start off with poetry, and we do a poem a day for 10 days, and I always give them like a different poet each day, and it's so they can see like all the different styles and the different way that these people write poetry. Because I had a teacher in college who said like we're always constantly stealing from like other people. Like all great literature and all great music is just kind of like stolen from somebody else, and you just kind of do it in your own way, right? So it's, I mean, I love that idea that music, like no matter the genre or anything, it's all kind of connected, you know, just by this commonality of the things that we use and that we talk about. And I love that shared experience and about all art, music, poetry, you know, literature, all that stuff. And I just love that I can be a part of that with my stuff. And I hope to be a part of it someday, a bigger part of it, you know, but
sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So this question should go like super, super quick.
Okay.
I want you to describe your music in 3 words.
3 words.
3 words off the top of your head.
Sad emo folk.
Oh wow, that was quick.
That was really quick.
Wonderful.
Unlike every other answer to every question you guys have asked.
Sad emo folk.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have listening to your music?
I think I would like people who listen to my music, I would like there to be some empathy there and some catharsis. Because I think all my favorite artists, the thing that I get out of music is having that cathartic feeling and that connection, that emotional connection of, wow, somebody else is going through this too, or, you know, I'm not the only one who's depressed, or I'm not the only one who's struggling with my job, or, you know, my marriage or my life, or, you know, things like that. So I think that relatability is so incredibly important. And I want people who listen to my music to just not feel alone. I think that's what I would say.
All right.
Oh, okay. Love that. Okay, so there's a 7-year gap in between your last 2 releases.
Yeah.
What happened there? And then there's also a 3-year gap in between your most recent release and your upcoming release. What happened there? What the frick, man?
Yeah, so my process, it takes a long time. But basically the 7-year gap, so I quit my band in 2010, and it was really, I mean, it was a life-changing decision, and it was also a really difficult decision because, I mean, I'd been with those guys for 6 years, and like my creative process was all mixed up in theirs. Specifically me and the drummer. Like we were super tight in terms of the way that we worked on our music, but the relationship grew kind of toxic as we grew older, and kind of he got into different things. And it was just one of those situations where you just kind of have to step away from, and you're just like, this is not working for me, and I kind of need to leave. But it was hard because, like, I mean, those are the guys that I learned how to play guitar with. Those are the guys that I learned how to write music with. And when I quit the band, like, I wrote the first song, "This Is Your Mess, You Clean It Up" on Graveyard Gertie. That song was written like in 2011, like 2010, like right after I quit the band.
Wow.
And then I didn't write another song for like 7 years, and it was just because I had to relearn how to do that. Like I had to find my own way, I guess. So that's kind of why I just didn't feel confident enough. I had pretty low self-esteem at the time, and I was just like, I need to figure out how to write songs again. And plus I was, so caught up in college and, becoming a teacher and working full time. And my wife and I had just moved out on our own and planning a wedding. And I mean, it was just all this other stuff that just took precedent over it. But whenever Gertie came around, the origin story for Gertie is kind of interesting. I have it on my Bandcamp, but I'll kind of do a condensed version for you guys. So when I was in college, I was working at a nursing home, and I was working in the kitchen, like washing dishes and stuff. And towards the end of my time there, I say it was probably the last year, there was this guy who came in. His name was Herschel Bloom. He was a resident, and he had like really bad Parkinson's, and him and I just kind of met by chance. I mean, I think he was in his 60s. But he was telling me stories like he lived in Oregon, he played all these folk festivals, and he wrote all this music, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He told me he had Jerry Garcia's glasses, and like he was doing drugs with Jerry Garcia, and I was just like, okay, man, whatever.
Wow.
But then like he actually somehow got me a copy of his music, and I was listening to it, and I was just fascinated by it. I was just blown away, and I was like, here's this old man who is just like the coolest human being I've ever met, and like nobody knows him. Like nobody knows his stuff, and it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I would take my guitar in, and on my lunch breaks I'd go down and I'd sit with him and play music with him. And I mean, he's the one, because he'd always sing Bob Dylan, and then I kind of got into Bob Dylan through that. And he loved like the Beatles, which I've never been a big Beatles guy, but like he really, there was a couple songs that he sang that I got really into. So, and then I got my job teaching, and I had to leave this job. And shortly after I left, he passed away, which was really difficult, and it was hard because like I worked in that nursing home for like 9 years, which is crazy to say now, but you really kind of detach yourself from people, you detach yourself from death. Mm-hmm. So like you see it so often, and you just watch these people like pass away, and that's just part of the job. But his really kind of stung, and I realized like over the course of this, like I've kind of become numb to death. So fast forward a little bit, my wife's family takes a trip to West Virginia every year, and we went down one year, and there was this like random, like as you can see behind me, I'm a huge vinyl nerd, and there was this weird like dudes like selling records on the side of the road, right? So I go and we were looking through records, and I found this 78 record. It's like the super old ones, like one song on each side. Mm-hmm. And it had like Graveyard Gertie like carved into it. Like somebody had like taken the name of the actual song off and just carved Graveyard Gertie into it. And I was just like, I mean, that's where the inspiration kind of came from. And I just got this vision in my head of like these weird like corpses like dancing in a graveyard, which sounds kind of silly now, but that was kind of my inspiration for the record. And if you watch the music video that I have on YouTube that my buddies and I did, we actually filmed some of it in the cemetery where like I used to go as a kid and like hang out. Maybe that says too much about me, that I used to hang out in cemeteries, but and that was a huge part for me, just going back to that, my childhood, like my first experience with death, and like visiting this graveyard that I used to go to all the time, and just like kind of thinking about death in that way. So that record was just me kind of like, I don't know, it was just, I think on the thing, the subheading of it is like a musical meditation on death or something, which is a pretentious way to say it. But, that's kind of what it was. I mean, just me kind of thinking about that and what it meant to me and in my life at that time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Wait, did you buy the vinyl that had Graveyard Gertie on it?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right,
Yeah.
good.
I wish I would have had the foresight to get it and like so I could show you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a picture. I'll send it to you through
All right.
email. So you can
Okay,
see
sick.
it. It's pretty cool.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. Well, on a lighter note, where do you see the project in the next 5 years?
Okay. Well, I do have a full album like written and ready to go. And I just actually bought some recording equipment and I'm working on demoing right now. So I'm just kind of like things together piece by piece. But next summer I hope to record in an actual studio, because that was always kind of my dream when I was with the actual band, is like I just wanted to get to a point where I recorded in a studio, because I'm kind of weird in the way that I'm kind of, I guess, anxious about playing live shows. Like I did it when I was in the band, but we never had like a huge crowd. It just, nothing ever really took off for us. And I don't know, the live setting, I've always been kind of like a socially awkward and kind of anxious person. So the live settings always kind of weirded me out, but I love the writing process and I love creating. So I want to experience what it's like to be in a real recording studio once in my life. So that's kind of the next step for me. Is next summer I'm going to record this record, hopefully, barring any other, global pandemics. Hopefully we don't have any more.
The alien invasion.
Yeah. But and then after that, I'm going to kind of see where it goes. But I mean, I think any artist would say, like, every time you write something and you're like, you always have that, like, will I ever write anything again? Which is exactly how I felt after I wrote Gertie. But I feel like, I feel that same way with these songs. I feel like, oh man, these are the best songs I've ever done, and I don't know how I could go any farther with this in terms of my creativity. But somehow, like, once you get past that point and you put out that record or you put out that release and you start thinking about the next thing and ideas just start coming. So I'm going to work really hard to just kind of like pause my creative process right now and just make sure I can make these songs the best they can be, and then, put out that record. But that's kind of it. Yeah. I'd love to do a tour one day. I don't know if it's in the cards. It's just so hard with my job. But maybe in a summer, maybe I could do like a little summer tour or something, 2-week tour or something.
Little summer run there.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh no. On a little darker note, for the last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music, if that's okay.
That's totally
fine.
And
we're going to go to death row.
Ooh.
So, if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Can I make the meal?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I've been making some pretty bomb vegan tacos lately.
Yo, let's go.
So like vegan tacos with jackfruit. And I've been making like a mango salsa that's pretty delicious.
Ooh, yeah.
And some rice, some Mexican rice. I think that would be an excellent meal. And a drink. Let's see. I've taken up the habit of drinking LaCroix.
Yes,
God.
as you should.
It's an
static
addiction
water
for me. It's so bad because it's like every day I have to have two. Like I have my 2 LaCroix that I drink every single day, and it's my thing. But it's like kind of got me away from like drinking soda, which has been amazing, and away from alcohol, which has been good for my mental health. so those are definitely LaCroix, I think, on death row, which is probably the lamest.
No, it's not, because
Glory
that's
would
also
have
my
it.
drink.
Yeah, Glory would have it.
or a good scotch, we'll say that. The
Okay,
LaCroix or a good scotch.
How about both? Mix them.
Or both,
Oh.
yeah. Sure, I'll do that.
What's your LaCroix flavor? Like, what's your favorite?
Oh man, I do mango or passion fruit typically. I also really like pamplemousse and key lime.
Okay.
Those are like.
Taste.
Do you have one? Do you have a favorite?
Grapefruit. I'm a grapefruit person. Yeah.
Nice.
Or lime. Just like any basic like flavor, or just like grapefruit or blueberry. Not blueberry, blackberry. Just like anything really. Yeah.
Did you try the hibiscus, like the weird flower one?
No, I haven't. I want to though.
It is weird.
Is it like a good weird, or like?
Well, it's a weird like. once you drink it, you kind of get used to it.
Mhm.
Like after a couple cans, you're like, okay, I think I can do this. But like, it took me a little while. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like, it's kind of like a,
Yeah.
taste. Yeah, it tastes like you're drinking flowers.
Oh,
It's
that's
really-
not very pleasant.
it's
Wait,
kind
have you
of
tried?
strange.
Have you tried the watermelon one? It's not like watermelon, but it's like I've heard like bad things about it, but I still want to try it because the can looks like really pretty.
Oh man,
But-
I'll have to try
yeah.
that. No, I haven't even seen it around here. Maybe it hasn't come to Ohio yet. Ohio's
Oh.
usually slow in the uptake with those things.
That's right. I
Ohio
think it's a
gets
new
everything
flavor.
last. It's the worst.
Oh dang! All right.
Man.
Anyways, yeah,
I'll be
Um,
on the lookout for the watermelon LaCroix though. That sounds amazing.
definitely same.
Yeah.
So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Oh, dude. Oh, that is so tough. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of like a quick answer so there's not like dead air on your podcast. But I mean,
Thank you.
good Lord. Oh,
There's so
my.
many.
I would, okay, here we go. I would go, if only for like a day, because I wouldn't want to experience it completely, but I would love to see what it would be like in Orwell's 1984, like in Oceania. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Orwell's 1984, but it's like one of my favorite books, and like it's like super dystopian. And I would just like to go and see like, okay, is Oceania under, Big Brother's rule and the party and like this super controlling government? Like, is that as bad as the Trump era? is it as bad? I mean, because for me, it kind of is. I just a point of comparison. I think it's pretty damn close.
For sure.
Hopefully, I didn't offend anybody with that comment. But yeah, these past 4 years have been brutal.
I agree. Anyways, so I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to has said it's the most important question.
Bring it
What's
on.
your favorite color?
Favorite color? I gotta go with green.
Do you have a specific shade?
I always like lime green.
Ooh, yeah, like the
I'm-
neon bright ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like a super punk kid at heart, and like grew up like loving the Sex Pistols, and like it just like I see that like light pink and that light green, and it just makes me so happy.
All right.
It
Wonderful.
really does
Solid.
bring me happiness.
So as Glory said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Just if you can go check out Graveyard Gertie. It's on my Bandcamp, SeeMoreGlass.bandcamp.com. I'm also on Spotify. SeeMoreGlass is all one word. Also, if you can, I don't know if you can see my shirt, but donate to No More Dysphoria. If you can, support our trans people in this crazy country, because they definitely need our support right now. So, but I think all my stuff's on Bandcamp for like super cheap. And if you're a fan of physical copies, I have hand numbered copies of both releases. I think $5 and you'll get both of them. So that's kind of yeah. So if you like that, go for it.
All right.
Solid.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been SeeMoreGlass and we're the Good Noise Podcast.